The haunting hour is at hand. Ghostly hauntings since time began. Raw side paranormal seeks the truth, looking for some kind of real proof. Creaky floorboards and eerie dark mist. Grab your camera and document this. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the wrong side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your AirPods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. The icy air touches your neck. You feel like screaming, but you stay in check. Oars rising up to take the magical flight. You can't believe what's happening tonight. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. And welcoming to the stage is the famous Joe Vitale. Hi, Joe.
I don't know about the famous part, but hi.
Oh, you're famous. You're just being bashful about it. Let's see who we got hanging out with us. We've got Sir Wayne. How are you doing? Susan, Pomp, Ryan, Michael. Let's see who else. Jay, welcome. Hey, Jimmy, blah, blah, blah. Face the Eighth. And let's see if I'm missing anybody. If I am, let me know. Hello, Miss Dawn. I was talking to Miss Dawn today. I told her we need to put her in bubble wrap. Hey, Al, what's going on? Hi, everybody. Friday House. Hello, sir. I think I got everybody. If I didn't, just give me a shout out, guys. I'm trying not to miss anybody. But okay, the mystery guys all want to know what happened to Beardo. Because of personal reasons, Beardo could not attend this evening's show, and he is going to reschedule with me. And that's pretty much the scoop, guys. It's nothing too serious, but health is first and show is second. So I was very, very happy that Joe was willing to give me his sympathy and pop on and join me tonight.
Well, I mean, everybody knows I'm more popular and just better than Beardo anyways.
Oh, definitely.
No.
So. Hey, Double K. Hi, Miss Julie. So, hopefully, hi, Michael. Hopefully you guys still enjoyed the show. It is what it is. And it's pretty much, we're just going to shoot the shit, talk about general stuff that's going on. Hi, B Squared. Things maybe that are going on in the community itself and Joe's future plans, what him and Don are up to. Hello, Miss Tanya. How are you? So we'll start with that, Joe. What are you and Miss Dawn up to these days?
Not much of anything, honestly. Dawn the other day decided that she was going to fight Gravity, and Gravity won, and she ended up messing herself up, having to get freaking surgery again.
I know. I just,
This time, the other side. She messed up her arm and her shoulder on one side. And now she did it again on the other side.
oh
So, yeah.
man. I know. When I read that, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
So, I mean, really, the only thing that I have planned coming up really doesn't have anything to do with YouTube, anyways. Really, just going to Nashville, going to a concert with Ron, Cassie from Weeping Willow's husband. We're gonna go and see a concert.
Fantastic. Hey, Carla, what's going on, sweetie? So that's going to be exciting. Who are you going to see? Is it anybody that we would know?
Probably not. Dream Theater.
Dream Theater. I seem to have heard of that, but I'm not familiar.
Yeah, they've been around for a little over 40 years now.
Ah, that's probably
Yeah.
why I've heard of them. Yeah, but I'm not familiar with the music, so I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, you'll have to look it up. You'll have to look it up. There's something bothering me right here. What the hell? I'm like looking down at my microphone, and it's like there's this thing that I think I got it. That was, oh my God, that was annoying.
It was a ghost hair.
Yeah. Ghost Cube.
reaching up to touch your face.
Oh.
I know. I'm still getting used to this new microphone. I mean, everybody says it sounds great, but I'm not used to it being so far away, and it's because of the way the stand is. I have to have it over here because it's in the way of the keyboard. So I don't know. When I get the new studio set up, then I'll have to readjust everything. I'll have more space. That's going to be the great part. Now I was teasing Dawn. I says, Jesus, man, we're going to have to wrap you up in bubble paper. You can't even go outside.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's still in the chat. I don't know if she's laughing or not. We're going to wrap her up and get her all packed away. So if she falls, she'll bounce. How's it going, Raven?
But yeah, I mean, that's really it. I don't have anything like planned. Well, there might be something in the works, but that's a hush hush thing.
Okay.
If that works out, that'll be really cool. I definitely want to investigate. I had said in Dawson's premiere the other day, I wanted to go and investigate by myself, and Dawn was like, "No." Well, it looks like that's gonna happen anyways.
Yeah, she keeps injuring herself.
So yeah, I've been wanting to just go, not make it an all the time thing, but I would like to at least one time this year just go somewhere alone, for reasons, be like, basically, it's one of those funny things where it's like, man, microphone's hot. Let me turn that down a little bit. Jesus, I was in the red. My God, I was loud. But there are reasons. Get these channels like, oh, the 30-minute alone challenge, or in like stuff like that, and all the crazy. Yeah. So I wanted to go to a location all by myself because I know nothing's gonna happen.
Oh, you don't know. That's probably when it will happen, when you're by yourself.
Well, that's cool too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that.
Just hopefully you can catch it all, either on, video or on, record or something.
Now, with my luck, it's going to happen when no cameras are pointed in that direction, because that's how it always works.
It always works that way. Tanya thinks you're looking sexy.
Put your glasses on, girl.
Hi, Christina. Welcome. You know you're hot. Come on.
Oh, please. I'm fat.
You want to... ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of meat on the bones.
I haven't seen my wiener in years.
Oh.
That's how fat I am.
Oh, what is it the guys used to say back in the day? More cushion, better pushing?
Well, that's in reference to the ladies.
Yeah, I know. That's why. It's all right. It could work both ways. No, Pop, I'm not freezing. Of course, I'm having issues with the screen tonight. I don't know what the hell's going on. I actually took that photograph. That is the picture of our North Country. And we were just driving along one day, and I stopped to go, oh, God, I got to get that on film. It really is a gorgeous picture. But see, I
I don't
guess
like it because it's snow. I hate snow.
yeah, don't like snow either, but it was beautiful that day. And I go, oh, they would make a great shot. So I did it. How's it going? Go outside. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, the older I get, the more I can't stand it. I love seeing it out through the window. Don't get me wrong, but that's as far as it goes with me nowadays. It's too freaking cold. Oh,
Yeah, I can't wait for summer.
I'm just kind of, what is it, like 46 days or so? Something like, maybe even less. They say
Not soon enough.
till spring. So just counting it down. And I hate wishing away the days, because life's short enough. But and everybody goes, move somewhere warm. No, then you got to deal with big giant bugs like with Side-Eye Guy and freaking giant spiders coming in the house. No.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Australia, but I don't. The damn spiders.
Yeah. Ugh. That was no joke. When he had that live and that spider showed up, I told him if it was my husband would have shot it. He really would have. He would have shot it and then patched the hole the next day. No way would have got close to that thing.
No. I would have been running around screaming like a little girl.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to give Side-Eye Guy some, credit there. He was brave enough to catch it in a solo cuff of all things. No freaking way. Not as fast as they move. I could just imagine it running up my arm. Oh yeah. Oh God.
So when I was a kid, I was not afraid of spiders. Up until I think the first or second grade, I was not afraid of spiders. And our janitor had a tarantula named Mr. T.
Oh.
And I don't know what kind of freaking tarantula it was or anything like that, but we were like, oh, hey, cool. Like, yeah, you guys, I'll pick it up, and hold it, and you guys can check it out. It reaches in the little tank that it's in, and the goddamn thing bit him. And he yelled, and he flung it off of his hand. It went back in the thing, whatever, the aquarium or whatever. And he took off running. And ever since then, terrified of spiders.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you. Hey, Zach, how's it going? Making dinner. Ooh, what are you making? Hope it's something good. But yeah, I'm same with me. No, I don't like them. And not to mention that I swell up if I get bit by them. So if I moved somewhere where they have these big nasty bugs, yeah, if I get bit, I'd probably die. So yeah, we'll stay away from that. What's Mike say? Mike says that tarantulas are different from other spiders. They act like depraved dogs. No, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I had a friend who had a tarantula. It got loose in his house and they couldn't find it forever. And I'm like, I'm not going in your house. Not until that spider is either dead or found. They found it like 3 months later. It was in the corner of the room.
Ugh.
Yeah, no way. All I can think of is it's crawling on your face when you're sleeping.
Bats. Bats are another thing. Bats are cute when they're not flying, right? We had a bat in a place that we were living in. It was just sitting there, and I'm like, oh my God, it's cute. I don't want to kill it. I'm like, maybe I can just, put something around my hand, grab it, and throw it outside. As, like I said, I didn't want to kill it. And then it started to fly. I'm like, I got to kill this goddamn thing.
My husband catches them in a washcloth and then just throws them out the window. He had a friend of his. We have a friend of ours. He's a a federal parole officer, big muscle bound dude. I mean, he's huge, right? Figure out, he deals with criminals. He's not afraid of nothing. He called up my husband one night. He goes, I need you to come over here and catch this bat for me. My husband's like, what? He goes, I'll give you $100 if you come over and get this bat out of my house. My husband went over there. He did. He gave him $100. My husband grabbed it with a washcloth and threw it out the window. He goes, there you go. I was dying. So here you're this big bodybuilder policeman, and you're afraid of a tiny little mouse with wings.
So I'm sure you're familiar with the what is it called? Home Shopping Network.
Yep.
HSN. Well, they have a 3 million square foot facility where I live. So, you know, when everybody orders their fucking vitamins and other like really dumb overpriced shit that doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah, it's there. And I had to load tractor trailers with product. And we were told day one, there are things that come here from different countries. If you see a spider, let us know. This was security.
Right.
Let us know. Because some of these spiders are aggressive and they will kill you. And I'm like, fuck, that's not what I want to hear. I'm terrified of spiders.
Especially, yeah, you're putting the boxes on and then it lands on your arm. Oh my God.
I'm like, holy shit, no.
I would have said, I quit. I'm out of here. I quit. Hi, Paranormal Research. Yeah, I would have been, no, I'm sorry. I am not staying here. Where I used to work one time, it was an old warehouse. It was called Univac. It was a electronics warehouse or factory. And then it turned into multiple businesses. And the dental lab that I worked for was in that building. And I used to be the first one in the building. And this place, whatever crawled was in this building. I come walking in, I go past, there's a bat right on the wall, right by my face. I almost shit myself. So I go upstairs and I talk about it. And a guy I worked with took care of the children's zoo here in our city. He goes, oh, I'll go get it. And he got a box and he went down and he caught it. And he come up because you want to see it. I go, listen, I am up for any joke, any whatever. Get that effing thing out of my face. I draw the line when it comes to insects and rodents. Get it away from me. He started laughing. I said, I'm serious.
Jeez.
I am serious. Do not put that next to me. Let's see. Dawn said, my ex was an officer and was so scared of spiders that I had to kill or release them. Like, you wear the gun. How are you? Yeah, I know. That's funny. It's the truth, though. A lot of people just do not like them. Let's see. Pomp, where I live, banana spiders, I heard, terribly deadly. They bite you, and I think you only have like minutes before you drop. I mean, that's what I've been told. I don't know.
I think it's longer than that. I mean, I don't know. According to 99 Ways to Die, that old TV show, some dude got bit by a banana spider, and well, it gave him an erection. And the erection wouldn't go away, and he kept trying to take care of it and kept it's a fake story anyways. But apparently you can get a few sessions in before it kills you.
Right. That's about it. No, man, I know it's you. You and Raven aren't the odd ones out. Why, we know. Let's see. I have a serious lack of fear in most things. That's what Matt is saying. I really don't fear a lot of things either. And the thing is, with spider, I don't like them. And I don't run from them. I have to make sure it's dead or I won't go to sleep. So, if there's one in a house and I've seen it and it gets away, I will rip everything apart till I find it to kill it. Then I can go to bed. The fear is I don't want it on me when I'm sleeping. That's the fear. But the bug itself, you're a goner. I look at it this way. The minute you cross the threshold, you're in my space, your history. Outside, I'll leave it alone. Be squared. I don't mind slow spiders, but anything that jumps or moves fast, I'm out. Yeah, a lot of them, they're quick. Too damn quick. Ryan, has wolf spiders jump on me in Maine while climbing the mountains. I ran down the mountain. Yeah, we've got wolf spiders around here too. They're horrible. And they're fast.
We have them. We also have brown recluses, and we have black widows.
Yeah. Oh, we don't have the black widows. Good Lord. Yeah, that would scare me. Do you have to have your house exterminated every so often because of black widows?
No, the only reason why we had it only happened a couple of times we had black widows because there was a pool in the yard, and black widows love being around water, and that one made its home there. But it's happened a couple times, so I was actually surprised. I've seen what black widows look like, in pictures and videos and stuff like that, but to
Right.
actually like see one, I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah, we're like, where the hell did this come from?
Right?
You don't really expect them in areas that are cold. That's what's odd.
Yeah, I always thought black widows would stay somewhere in a warmer climate, but apparently that's not the case.
I guess not. Actually, yeah, because a friend of mine who lives up on the mountain, he found one in his kitchen. And he took a picture of it. I'm like, what the hell? What's that spider doing? Maybe it come in on something that he bought from the store. That was what we're thinking, because God knows what you bring home from the grocery store.
Right.
Lyle says the golden orb spiders are absolutely stunning. They just hang from bushes and trees. I've never heard of a golden orb spider.
The writing spider? Of course you have.
I'd have to look at it to see.
It looks like they write in their webbing.
Oh no, I just
They also call them writing spiders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Probably if I see it.
Yeah,
Who the
they're
hell
big.
knows?
And their fangs, man. I'm like, Jesus Christ, for something to be so harmless, it's got some fangs on it.
Right, that's the scary part. Hey, Tales Told in the Dark. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Mike said there was a large green and yellow spider that got in the house one night. Took a large textbook to eliminate it. Yeah. I usually use my husband's work boots.
Was it a fake? Yeah, Raymond asked me if it was one of those fake ones. It had the hourglass on its back.
Yeah, my husband lived in New Mexico as a kid, and he said, yeah, the house is covered in them. And you had to have exterminators come every so many months just to get rid of them. Oh, Friday's having problems. Sorry, he said you can't see the stream. We haven't said anything yet to get in trouble yet.
Yeah. Not yet.
Not yet. We're working our way up to it. You know how that works out. You work your way up slowly.
Yeah. Or sometimes it just happens out of nowhere. It's a big train wreck.
Mike said black widows like places where they can be alone. Yeah, they're nasty. My mother-in-law freaked out when they're in New Mexico because when they moved into the house they were in, they were all over the stove. And she's like, oh no. Excuse me. And she says, you got to call somebody. She goes, I'm not sleeping here.
Yeah. Oh.
And not just that. I mean, they have vampire bats out there. She says they had one of the old beds, the beds that had the springs. You didn't have a box bed. You had the springs itself.
Right.
And she says she woke up in the morning. She goes in to wash her face and she looks up in the mirror and she's covered in blood. Apparently there was a bat hanging in the springs of the bed. And during the night, it come up and it bit her in the neck. She goes, she's washing her face in her own blood. She was like, oh my God.
Ugh.
Yeah, I would have shit myself.
Did she go and get a rabies shot?
I have no idea. She shouldn't say it, but most likely she probably did. But the shock, just waking up and you're covered in your own blood, and come to find out that's what they told them. They said that's why you couldn't have those kind of beds because they like to hang in the springs.
Great.
See, Dawn said I had a black widow in the classroom where I was teaching and got it back outside and maintenance killed it. Yeah, they're scary, especially, it's like, and the guys were saying earlier that everything in Australia seems like if it bites you, you're going to die. So I don't know why anybody wants to live there.
Australia is beautiful. I would love to go there, but I'm not a fan of everything wanting to kill me.
Right.
Somebody tried to convince me that drop bears were real. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
It's scary. Actually, I just found a story about in an old asylum in Australia, which I put in the magazine for March. Interesting sounding place. So I'm wondering if I should contact Side Eye Guy and see if it's someplace that he's familiar with, and maybe that's someplace that he would like to go investigate.
Yeah, I always wanted to see a kangaroo, and if the kangaroo tried to fight me, it's on, because I'll fight a kangaroo.
Have you seen?
But I am not. But I'm not fighting one of those jacked up on steroid kangaroos. Hell no.
Yeah, they're all like, all buff and everything. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah,
the one where the guy was protecting his dog. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
And he just nailed that kangaroo in the face, and the kangaroo just stood there like, what the fuck? I was dying.
Well, there was another one where this kangaroo was trying to fight a guy. The guy was like kind of teasing it a little bit. Look at this guy. He didn't know what to do. Look at him. And then he kissed the kangaroo. The kangaroo just backed up, was like, and looked confused and hell like, the fuck just happened?
Right. Ew. What's up with that guy? And I always try to ask everybody, if I know anybody from Australia, what's it really like to live there? I mean, you have all these deadly insects and creatures and stuff, but what are the odds that they actually come into your home? Or are you meeting them outside somewhere? It's interesting. It's just so hot. I was talking to Karen the other day, and she said, I forgot it was like 100 something degrees there. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Just too hot. And they think nothing of it.
Yeah.
I'd be passed out.
When I lived in Vegas, for a short time, and I got to experience 120 to like 124 degree weather.
Oh, no way.
Oh my God. Whew. Yeah. And I love the hot, nasty weather, but yeah, that was a bit too much. That was miserable.
Yeah, it's just, and people always kill me. Well, it's a dry heat. No, it's hot.
Right. Like, it doesn't matter. It's hot. And then the air conditioning in my car wasn't working, and rolling down the windows and driving, I just felt like a fucking blowtorch was just blowing at your face with the windows down. I'm like, oh God, this is not good.
Yeah, not for me. No way. My uncle said the same thing when he moved. Well, he was younger, and him and my grandmother moved to Arizona, and he says, I can't stay here. And everybody goes, oh, the dry heat story. He goes, listen, it's like walking out of your house into an oven. 120 is 120. I don't care what you say. So it's, don't fall for the dry heat thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. Friday could see now. Good.
Yeah. Jeff Beardo was like, I'm too good for this shit, and just didn't show up. So they got Laura got somebody better.
Yeah.
No, that's not what happened.
I try to catch up with the chat. So yeah, everybody that's coming in. Hey, Steph, how's it going? Beardo had some personal issues going on, so he couldn't make it tonight, guys. So Joe was kind to join me. How's it going, Jamie? So hopefully we can reschedule soon, because it took me a year to get that that show scheduled.
I need to smack the shit out of Jeff.
So where is Jeff? I can't see Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Oh, there's Jeff. Beardo shaved and lost his accent. Okay.
Yeah. Then he went on to say that I'm the Timu of
Okay. I'm not down that far. I'm way behind, apparently. Sorry, I'm going to crow the chat so I can get to Yeah, there it is. Joe is the Timu Beardo. Oh, God.
I don't know if anybody has any questions, or what do you want to talk about? We should probably get away from insect murdering.
Yeah, insects.
Yeah.
Actually, well, yeah, I want to talk to you. Let's talk about some of the crap that's going on here.
Oh, there's a lot of that. We need shovels.
Yeah, let's get the shovels out. I don't understand. Again, a lot of issues are going on with the debunking community, and we're all a part of that, even though we might not have debunking channels.
Right.
I just don't understand where, if these people don't want anybody to critique their work or call them out, then what the hell are, I get it. They're doing it for the money, the views, or whatever, something that they're getting from it. But where do they get off just attacking people, even physically wanting to attack them just for their opinion? I mean, what are your thoughts on all of that?
When you do this, whether you're doing it genuinely or doing it in a form of entertainment, you got to be tough skinned. You absolutely have to be tough skinned. I mean, it's that simple. You have to be, because there's always going to be somebody out there who's going to look at your stuff, going to have their opinions or whatever. They're going to have something to say about it. I mean, and that's just not in the paranormal. That's just in life in general. And I guess it also depends on how, like, a debunker may go about doing their debunk. Maybe that person thinks that debunker went too hard or wasn't fair or anything like that, and it pissed them off. But I'm like, fucking reach out to them. If you think that they're wrong about something, well, you were there. You have footage. You can prove differently.
Right.
And it's not like the debunkers are going to be like, oh, I was wrong, but I'm not going to say anything. No, they'll say something. If they're wrong, they're wrong.
Right.
Look, I don't go to other people's channels and debunk their stuff. I have done it from time to time. But that is the foundation of being a paranormal investigator. Dawn and I, or even before Dawn was in the picture, we go to a location, you hear the claims, you put the claims to the test. Let's see what happens. There are things that I just don't like to do, like running a spirit box. But guess what? Sometimes we just have to run a spirit box because we're told that other investigators get all kinds of stuff coming through their spirit box. So then I'm like, fuck, okay, run the spirit box or run the REM pod. But we're trying to figure out what is actually going on, testing those claims. And there are, like, even with like some locations, not all locations, where apparently they take issue with that kind of thing. It's like, why do you got to come, here and try to debunk stuff and because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah,
that is what we're supposed to do, and that's the thing is debunkers are looking at what other channels are doing, and something happens. Not one of them get up off their ass and tries to figure anything out. It's just, it was a ghost. Well, of course you're going to get called out. You're going to get called out for being stupid. You didn't use your brain. You didn't try to figure anything out. Do I think that some debunkers can be a little too harsh? Sure. Do I agree with everything that, they say? No. The majority of it that, I do. I have seen debunk videos where I'm like, no, that's not how that was done, or they're just wrong. Because I've been to the location. I understand the layout of the location. There was a debunker claiming that event had something to do with somebody feeling like their clothes or something was being pulled on. And I'm like, that vent, there's nothing attached to that vent. You can literally look down at the vent and see the first floor.
Right.
So it had nothing to do with the vent and airflow or anything like that. I've seen one of Shape's videos, somewhat of a recent one, on a location. And I was there. And he was pointing out how there was a door that was closed, but then magically it was open, something like that. I don't want to I don't want to be super wrong about it or anything like that, but it was some sort of situation like that. But I'm like, no, I've been there. And what's happening is this one door leads out of that room. You can see the banister to the stairs, and they're turning around. There's another door, and it is closed, and that leads elsewhere in that room. It goes outside of the room, but it goes elsewhere. Basically an attic. So when the shape was like, thinking that there was like these weird cuts or something to that effect, like, no, that's two different sides of the room.
Right.
I've been there. And I've seen other things that debunkers have done where I'm like, no, that's not what they did. That's, who was it? Somebody had said that there was some sort of rigging, like this extravagant rigging of something, and this paranormal investigator come flying out of his chair and stuff like that. And it's like, well, yeah, basically using a pulley system. Like, no. There is something called what is it called, Matinee or something like that, with certain video editing software where you can literally take a picture of somebody and then you can create joints. So even though it's a still photo, you can create where their arms are moving and do all kinds of other things. That's a very simple technique, and that was what was used.
Oh, yeah. See, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. Another one where Beardo, I don't believe he did get it wrong. And I've been to this place. I know the floors. I know that area. I've been there twice. Where he said, and this is with a ghost called Paranormal. He said that they overlaid something, and here's the shadow thing. And I'm like, no, because he pointed out, why is part of the floor disappear? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? But there's a number of things. But I have video, and I can even I can literally go out of this room, and I can record my floor, and I can make the exact same effect. It's the lighting, and it's how old the floors are, how it's wore out, and things like that. I mean, I have video somewhere on my channel from Madison Seminary where you can see that wood is worn out, and it looks like you can see the space in between the boards up until a certain point. And then it looks like they become one piece of flooring.
Okay.
When in reality, it is not. But that also was not paranormal. And I'll give you my opinion of it. I think what happened was there are a couple of different cameras, a couple of different light sources. When the camera moved, you see the camera move, and it looks like that shadow is moving. There's probably the other camera, wherever they had it set up, that light was probably what was making the shadow. And when whoever it was moving the camera, the light, because it shifted, caused the camera or caused whatever was casting the shadow to move. It was absolutely not paranormal. And I personally do believe that they know that. I believe that they knew that was not paranormal. They had other cameras going. Why didn't we see those other cameras? Why didn't we see those different angles?
Right.
Things like that. So to a certain point, Beardo is right. It was not paranormal. And I believe they knew what it was. And that's how they presented it.
Right.
Yeah, I was told, well, we never said it was paranormal. We never said it was a ghost. But yeah, when I look at some of the things that you're posting, like the little shorts and things like that on YouTube or Instagram, it's heavily insinuated that a shadow mass was captured.
Right.
But it was not paranormal.
again for
And
the clicks.
and I told Beardo about that, but Beardo, he also talked to Parple and Mr. Gray. I think I'm not sure. He didn't say who. I'm just assuming.
Right.
And some other people, and I'm like, I got a lot of respect for those guys, but they're wrong.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion, just like everybody else. Two Ply wants to know, how much cover or cleavage do I need to show to get you to say Joe? Okay, I don't know who are you asking, Two Ply?
Yeah, all I got is a handful.
I don't. Okay, Pomp wants to know, while he's not here, what you see in Dawson that some don't.
Dawson, he's actually trying to learn. He's taking in the information. He's getting other people's opinions, but he's also challenging those opinions, which I like because a lot of people don't do it.
That's right.
So, when somebody says something about like the music box, guess what? Dawson's like, okay, well, let's try it. Let's put that to the test. So he's kind of like, he's doing the opposite. We go off and we like debunk and show why these things don't work. And then Dawson's around going, well, if it's these things that are supposed to set it off, then, I can get something to measure that or to challenge that. Dawson is very passionate, but no, make no mistake about it though. Dawson has straight up said that he wants to be a YouTuber. That's what he wants to do. Make that his job, which is fine. But a lot of people will look at that and be like, oh, so it's just about the money. It's just, no. And yes, money, of course. I don't know about you, but I would much rather do my dream job and get paid for it than some shitty 9-to-5 that I can't stand.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But, then you have those who it is solely about the money and they'll just fake shit. Dawson gets a lot of shit from us. We try to we kind of eased up on him and things like that. But Dawson, he has a passion for the paranormal. And believe me, there are times, I don't want to say too much about our conversation we've had, but there are times where Dawson's like, fuck this, I don't want to do it anymore, kind of thing. Because he gets a lot of shit from a lot of other people too. It's like, if I honestly thought Dawson wasn't passionate or didn't give a shit or was faking, I wouldn't have investigated with him. I wouldn't take him on investigations. And I think, like I'm getting fucking old, right? I'm going to be 47. I'm starting to get fucking old. At some point, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. And I would much, with the new generation coming up and getting to the paranormal, rather than bitching and complaining, we should, go out of our way to some extent and help them learn, help them grow. I think at some point Dawson, I think his channel will blow up, but I also believe that he will keep it as honest as he possibly can.
Yeah, that's what I love about him too. The passion that he has, and that he's not afraid to try these things and be criticized for it. Because then in turn, like you said, then he wants to say, okay, well, explain to me why this doesn't work or why we shouldn't use it. And even though, like when him and Kenny go at it, you guys have a great debate. You can agree to disagree and still be friends at the end of the day. That's the best part of it.
Right. And Kenny Biddle, he would investigate with Dawson again. Kenny has no issues with Dawson, but the thing is that there's a difference between, I've explained this in a previous video. There's a difference between people who absolutely believe and the apps and the other devices and fakers. There's a difference. You look at like Exploring with Harley. I almost said Jeff, but we have another Jeff.
Right.
So to be very clear, Exploring with Harley Jeff. Sweet guy. Really nice guy.
Yes, he is. Hi, Water Horse.
And he invited Dawn and I to investigate in Gettysburg. And I wasn't going to be like, well, you can't investigate that way because that's not how I investigate. No, first off, he invited us. And even if it was the other way around, I would not tell somebody how they can or cannot investigate. It's just not happening. We had a conversation about it. We had a conversation about, why he uses it. And he absolutely does believe that they do work. But he also, unlike Dawson, he does not allow those things to dictate the investigations. He does not allow them to lead the investigation. I do believe with a little bit of the exception of the apps, but I do believe that it is possible for, entities of any kind to manipulate electronics and stuff like that. I mean, hell, we hear, in a lot of cases where the lights flicker or weird things happens with electronics. So why not something as stupid as a REM pod or even a music box?
Right.
Why do we just completely dismiss them? I always say that the issue with those devices is that there is no way we can validate if a ghost is messing with our equipment or if it's something natural. We don't have a way to validate a ghost did it. Not happening.
Right.
Especially when there's all kinds of other things that can set our equipment off.
Steph says, Joe, what is actual evidence that you would accept as non-debunkable? What would be definitive proof for you?
If a ghost walked up to me and stuck its finger up my ass and said boo.
Yeah, I think that would be proof. That's great.
I mean,
Holy shit.
We use the word undebunkable. I don't like to use that word. Just because we can't debunk it or other people can't debunk it doesn't mean that somebody else could figure it out or there is a natural explanation for it.
Right.
The other issue too is, and this kind of goes back to like debunkers as well. Just because we can recreate something doesn't necessarily mean that it is actually debunked. I mean, what does the paranormal look like? When you see a chair sliding across the floor, it looks fake, right? And immediately you're like, there had to have been a string, right? And even though it was a legit thing that happened, nobody manipulating anything, it was just not faked at all. Guess what's going to happen? Well, there was a string attached to it and they slid it all across the floor. Debunked. It's like, no, not necessarily. So it's like, I have seen shit move on its own.
Right.
Was it a ghost? I don't know. I can't say for sure, but like I've watched chairs with no wheels, just like metal chairs slide across the floor. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Exactly.
And I know if I put stuff out there like that, they would, magician string. It's like, no, there wasn't. That happened. I'm not telling you that it was a ghost. For all I know, there could have been some vibration or something that I didn't feel. They made the chair scoot across the floor. I don't know. But again, just because we can recreate something does not mean that something is debunked. It's just, and that's a pet peeve of mine. Unless it's blatantly clear and you can actually see,
right,
string or something like that attached to it. That's that's a different story. But I mean, the paranormal itself looks fucking fake.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. If you don't have definite proof on how the act was performed, then you have to leave it up to the unknown.
Right. It's okay to give, like, well, they could have done this or they could have done that. But I'll just say, oh, well, this is what they did and it's debunked.
Yeah, that's not always that cut and dry. That's why I always tell everybody it's always important to document your findings at that location. Go to that location more than once, because you're not going to get all the answers for hanging out for a couple of hours in one spot. It's going to be different every time you go. So that's why it's important to collect all of that data. And then maybe after so many visits, then you come up with your conclusion of what you think may be going on in that space. Ryan says, do you think maybe a debunk may have been paranormal yet seemed natural, or so wrongfully debunked? I totally fucked up that question, didn't I? Let's try that again. Do you think? Okay. Totally fucked that one up.
There is that possibility. Because the issue is that there's so many people out there faking shit, and now everybody's in the mindset of, oh, well, if that happened, then it has to be fake. We're so jaded now that if somebody was to present actual, like, a paranormal event, it's going to get debunked. Like, somebody's going to try to debunk it.
Right. Hey, Steve.
Or they're going to get called fake or whatever. And that scares me, because there may be instances where something was paranormal and everyone's calling it fake. I'm afraid that that's going to end up happening, and that can be very damaging to a channel, especially one that's just getting started, who very well could have captured something paranormal.
Exactly. That's why I always tell people when I'm doing interviews and I ask their opinions about equipment and certain techniques. You got the people, oh, no, never use that stuff. Don't use it. It's all garbage. But then you have others, well, yeah, I do use it, but I don't let it lead the investigation. I always say, leave the door open. It's all part of the experiment. Give it a go while you're at that location. See what you collect, then put it down and then continue. Because you never know, there might be that one time. There's something that's going to happen that you can't explain.
Right. I mean, look what happened when we were at Octagon Hall. It literally looked like something like moved Dawn's hair. I mean, it was so bizarre. I mean, you could literally see something mess with her hair. I don't know what that was. And I have no explanation for that whatsoever. And I have yet to hear anybody else come up with an explanation. But somebody else, could see that and they're like, oh, well, I think that's fake, and then do a video on it. And that could definitely harm, my channel, and more importantly, my reputation, my credibility.
Yeah. Friday House says getting old. Yeah, Joe's only in his 40s. You're not. Steve goes, you're still a young pup.
Well, I mean, maybe to some of you, but geez, still.
Well, yeah, to me, because you're 42?
40. I'm not 42. I'm 47. Well, I will be 47 in March.
47. Okay. Yeah. You're still. You got another 20 years to go. Come on. Let's see. Occult Life here says, I love about Dawson too that he tests everything. I don't think he's all about the money. He's passionate about doing it for the for a job. Nothing wrong with that. I agree. Dawson's not afraid to test things and experiment. That's how it should be. I agree with that too. Yeah, this is all a big experiment. That's pretty much what it is. Steve said, I'm still out there after 30 years at 56. Steve going strong.
Yeah, I mean, at some point I'm going to be like, well, I don't know if I'll make it to my 80s, but that'll just be a point where I'm like, no, I can't do this anymore.
Or with that part, I'm asking, I know I'm trying to get down to, I'm hoping not to miss anybody's questions. Paranormal burnout. Do you ever feel burnout from doing the hobby?
Yeah. That's why I try to take breaks during the year. I'll go a couple months not doing anything because I spend a lot of money. There's a lot of traveling that goes on and a lot of other things as well. And, as much as I do love going out there and investigating, there is the burnout because you also have to think too. It's not just going out there investigating and the traveling. There's the editing. There's the reviewing. I mean, there's all kinds of things. And it definitely kind of takes a toll, especially when you're not getting any kind of like, I guess you could say results, right? As it keeps shit real. Whatever happens, happens. And anybody who watches my channel knows, fuck, nothing ever happens with the exception of a couple of times, here and there. And even then, some of those are like, but was it?
Right. So yeah, Ryan says, I don't believe in the paranormal. I know it's out there. Big difference.
I think I think the paranormal is a very rare thing.
You know what it is? Oh, hey, Dawson is here. Hey, Dawson says lame. His ears were burning.
Yeah, whenever I type in Dawson's channel into like Google or whatever, the word lame is always right fucking there, like always. It basically describes his channel.
Let's see. Law says, even Amy and Jared's Ghost Tube says apps are experimental. You are not necessarily speaking to spirits. So at least they give that disclaimer. Yes, that's great. Yeah, Jeff goes, Dawson was summoned.
I was over there talking nice about Dawson for a change. And he wasn't even here for that shit.
Wasn't here.
He was always here for the bad shit.
Mike says summoning Dawson involves crickets and energy drinks. Oh, yeah, yuck. I can't believe he did that too. It's so gross.
Ugh. Let's see.
Hi, Cynthia. Cynthia says it's great to come in and laugh, but I'm not sure about the finger up the bum thing. That's what Joe wants. And you never know.
It was a bit extreme, I know, but
sometimes that's what you got to do, right?
I mean, I'm not willing to take a finger in the butt, but
Joe doesn't want to be fingered, but that's the proof he wants. Jonathan says the problem with devices is when devices drive the investigation and lead the narratives. Yeah, that's the problem I have with it. So yeah, Dawson, if you want to join us, you can. Let me know.
Oh God, do you want to ruin this live stream?
Yeah, we gotta get. La says, "Hey, Dawson, speak of the devil, and he shall appear." Yeah, I think his ears were burning. And then Friday, that's why I love Friday when he's in and we're talking about electronics because he is on it. It's just great. The devices used these days show no usable data. They are just toys.
Right. They don't tell us anything other than, blinky lights and makes a sound. Hey.
See, that's why when I was talking to Steve from Nocturnal Radio, I want to get a group of people. I would love it if a group of people with 20, 30 years plus experience get together with all of their data and then get together with like somebody like Friday House and come up with something that we can actually say might work. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there are devices out there that does give data, but the issue is what does that data actually prove? Like, there were
Again.
changes.
Right.
I mean, we're in this really weird situation where it's like the bar always raises, right? And I'm kind of part of that problem too, because I'm like always like kind of like raising the bars. But like no matter what we do, it's not good enough, kind of thing, right? No matter what we show, no matter what we present, it's not going to be good enough because where's the data? But if we don't exactly know what we are looking for or what ghosts could possibly be made of, then how can we even have something that could give us data to read whatever it is that ghosts or whatever the fuck are made of, kind of thing. I'm just trying to keep it. I'm trying to dumb it down a little bit. And then there are equipment that could be very useful to us. The problem is that it's so goddamn expensive. It's insane. But then it's funny because on the flip side, you have channels out there that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a year, who could afford to get that kind of equipment, and they don't bother. They're just sticking with fucking REM pods and all the other little cheap bullshit. It's like, if I was making that kind of money, I would definitely go and chase after those cameras and some of those other things, because it may help further the field. It may.
Right. So it's I'm so far behind, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up. So Dawson says he can't join. Let's see.
Good. I don't want to join anyway.
Yeah. See. Let's catch up. Hi, Chezit. Thank you for joining. Friday says data is good to show what is paranormal. It's when the data don't add up that backs up the paranormal synapses. So that's what I'm saying. People, I think everybody needs to join together to figure out something that we could maybe come up with something that would give us, because we're working with the same old stuff. And it becomes repetitive. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Right. And nobody is getting anything new. Hi, Cheza. Joe's a legend. Let's see. Last says, can you imagine how Nuke wound mess with that footage, Joe, if he got his hands on it? I'm lost on that one. That tells you how far behind I am. Sorry, guys.
I'm not sure. I'm lost.
Oh, Dawson said he will force Joe to go out on investigations even if he's in a wheelchair.
You're gonna change my diaper?
Yeah. It's a different show. No.
That'll change your mind.
Woohoo! Let's see. Dawn said Dawson's fate is pointing to an ME being in a wheelchair. Pointing to me being in a wheelchair. I need to get one of those. I've fallen and I can't get up. Dawn, you're falling too much. Way too much.
Let me see. It's not the same old stuff. Devices are fairly new. You are absolutely wrong, Dawson, about that. Dawson's saying it's not the same old stuff. Devices are fairly new to the world of paranormal. No, they're actually not fairly new. We've had things like REM pods 20, 30 years ago. We've had EMF meters 20, 30 years ago. We had sensors that are used like in like the shadow detecting whatever the fuck they are gear. we've had, I mean, there's a lot of things that we had 20, 25, 30 years ago. Differences is the package different.
Right.
Maybe using some newer circuitry and stuff like that, but it's basically the same. When it comes to phones, that's about the only thing that's fairly new to the field. But even I remember back mid 2000s was cell phones, smartphones. People were making apps, for paranormal investigations and things like that. There's all kinds of things that we have today that were around 20, 30 years ago. Just a lot of us just didn't bother to use any of it because either,
Right.
it had to, either we had to build it or we had to buy it from somebody. And again, that costs money. And then you had to know somebody who knew somebody that built those kinds of things and so on.
Right. Pretty much. Pomp wants to know, besides your good self, who do you think is the most genuine, legit ghost investigator on YouTube?
The most legit. There's quite a few. You have Weeping Willow. You have Boo Productions. Well, there's Dawson. There's Nightmare Nation. There's the PRU, although it's a little biased of me because the PRU is also something that I'm a part of. There's Matt. There's a lot. There's a lot. I don't want to sit there and tell you who is the most legit. I don't think that would be really fair. But I mean, there are legit channels out there who are grinding and busting their ass trying to get content out there for people to watch.
Right. We're all in the same boat pretty much. 2Play wants to know, why has my REM pod never gone off once?
Probably because it's working. I got mine going.
Dawson says, if someone makes a REM pod that says fuck instead of beeping, I'll 100% use it every investigation. And wouldn't that make it interesting?
No. I want mine to say, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Over here, big boy. Ryan says, do you think if you ask the spirit to touch a REM pod and on a count of 1, 2, 3, and it works like 10 times, is that possible paranormal?
Could be, or could just be a whole lot of coincidence. Because coincidences, right? Coincidences do happen quite a bit, and coincidences happen in a series of chains, right? Coincidentally, this thing happened like 5 times or whatever. Look at Dawn. She busted up one side of her body, had to have surgery. Coincidentally, she did it again. But on the other side, we can't, you can't rule out coincidences. If it goes off like that, it's like it could be a coincidence. I'm going to believe it's more of a coincidence than it would be paranormal, but it wouldn't completely rule out that maybe perhaps a ghost is doing it. But if somebody tells me to go and do this 10 times, I'm going to get fucking annoyed, and I'm not going to do it at all. Not happening.
Oh, I missed one comment that Dawson said. I'm trying to catch up, guys, and I'm missing stuff. All right, Joe already saw this one, talking about the same old stuff until the last 20 years. You might have to do it again. Dawson, I'm sorry. Let's see.
Oh, I am not going through that spiel again.
Friday says, that's true, Dawson, but you know what Kenny would say. We would need to test and see what may be causing the REM pod to go off. Yeah, because he pretty much picks it apart.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things that can set off a REM pod. I wasn't even touching it. I'm not even touching it. But you know, even like an insect that's big enough could set this off. And we may not even see that insect. Or it could be like, it was an orb and it set the REM pod off. And it's like, it was an insect. It was a blurry ass insect that looked like a little ball that set it off. I mean,
so, okay. The two places, and meanwhile, you have Jason Hawes out there promoting fake equipment. Well,
I actually had a FaceTime conversation with him yesterday.
oh,
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say that he's promoting. He's friends with somebody from Ghost Stop, so he'll try that stuff out and see what happens.
right. Water Horse. What would make sense to me is for an investigator to choose one location and turn it into a focus study for several weeks or months. See if the results keep coming up the same. There's your data.
It would have to be more than just a couple of months. It would have something like that would have to be done for at the very least a year or two.
Crow's lurking. He made a comment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't see his comment, but I'm sure it's golden.
Jesus.
Like I said, golden.
Yeah.
The way he likes his showers, golden. I've used the George Foreman grill on an investigation, but just not to use it to find ghosts.
Right.
Brought it with us to cook burgers on. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's right. I already answered that one, I think.
See, I'm just gonna slide on down, guys. Just if I missed it, send a comment or question again. I gotta get caught up here. I've never been this far behind ever. Oh my God. And you got the Dawson saying that. I'll say this. I understand natural things happen, but I do personally believe the paranormal is in bed with natural things like EMF, vibrations, etc. Maybe sometimes stuff might be paranormal, but data suggests it's natural. Let's see. Oh,
stop pretending to be smart, Dawson. It doesn't work. No.
Oh, geez. Let's see. The occult life. Make sure no. If EMF and I don't think several times in a row on command would be considered a coincidence. I'm sorry. Coincidence is 2 times more than 2 times is a pattern, but at that point may not be paranormal natural patterns.
Right. You got to remember, like with certain signals, like Wi-Fi signals, and I'm sure Crow's going to have something to say about this, what I'm about to say, or the word I'm about to use. Think of Wi-Fi as a pulsating signal, right? It's not just a straight, like one ongoing signal. It's a series of signals. And when you get too close to something like that, your REM pod could just stay going off until you move it far away enough, or the REM pod may it may just make different beeps or beep consecutively. I'm talking with my hands tonight. I'm not sure why.
That's
but
all right.
I'm
That's
Italian.
usually me too.
I'm Italian, huh? But I mean, there's a lot of things that, like I said, it could be a coincidence. You could be like, hey, can you do that again? And it happens. And then because your timing is right with something else that's setting it off. And that could be a thing as well. So when you ask, 10 times and it does that 10 times, it very well could be a natural source that's actually setting that off. And because our brains are just programmed to put things together, even if it's not necessarily supposed to make sense, our brain is constantly trying to connect dots and things like that. There was, the Monroe house. I had purposely set my REM pod in a spot, knowing that there was an electrical outlet nearby, and there were also power lines, because there was an incident that happened where I think it was a millimeter was going off, and I was like, yeah, dude, there's like power lines, or not power lines, but wires, electrical wires and shit running through there and underneath the basement right in that spot. I'm like, that's probably what set it off. So I had set my REM pod close to that area, and my REM pod was going off.
There you go. See, it's amazing how everybody in the chat has a different thought on how the equipment works and what it puts out. Friday says most all radio signals have what is called the carrier wave. It is a constant signal until it is modulated by a signal to make it pulse. Normally an audio signal, but Wi-Fi is serial data.
Well, and again, I can prove this. Like, literally prove this right now. Or maybe not. It depends on what's shielding that router. But I had told Cassie, for example, a router will set a REM pod off. And she was at the Hinsdale house, where Cassie, Weeping Willow Paranormal, and her REM pod kept going off. And it just continued to like go off. It would go off, and then it'd stop, and then it'd go off again, stop, go off again, stop. So, and she was live streaming too, and said, move the REM pod away from the router, because I knew that's where the router was. You could see it. She moved it, it stopped. If I was to take my REM pod and put it over by my router, it may actually do that. But then again, the way that they now make routers, because this was an older router, the way they make routers now, it could be shielded a hell of a lot better, because everybody's afraid of EMF and getting, I don't know, like brain cancer or something from devices.
Well, then they better stop using their phones.
Phones don't necessarily set off all devices. Like I've had a couple of people send me messages on my phone. My phone's really close to the REM pod. It's about 2 feet away from the REM pod. It hasn't gone off.
So that's great. Dawson said, one time I had an EMF next to a Wi-Fi box and didn't realize it. Thought it was just a random object early in my career, and full on believed it was a ghost triggering it all night. Corrected it though. So, and then Friday says most plastic case routers only have the transmitting part or portion of the board shielded. The signal comes from the antenna, and that will set off the REM pod.
Right. But also, and I'm not sure, I haven't been able to keep up with router technology here lately. I realized just recently that they had Wi-Fi 7. But
do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my bad. I don't keep up on
the only reason why I found that out is I seen the manual for my motherboard. I'm like,
Uh,
Didn't 6 just come out not that long ago? Crap. Um, but certain like I can't even remember now. Certain what was it? You know what? I can't even. I'm not going to say anything because I can't even remember off the top of my head. It was something that I was watching. I talked about something with routers and shit.
right.
And now I can't remember it off the top of my head. If I can't remember it, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to be like, well, Joe said this and he was wrong. What an idiot! I don't know it all.
And they'll be all over that. You know it. So
I know. I know.
Dawson says, I've tried to set my REM pod off with my phone or his iPhone and an Android. Doesn't work. That's not a real thing. If it went off, it was for someone because of a phone that was coincidental and not because of the phone is pretty much what he's saying.
Right. Well, phones used to set off this stuff, but no. What they're shielding the phones with, like the cases and stuff like that, it doesn't do that. I wonder. Can I set this here? No. Fuck. All right. So if I set my phone there, hey Dawson, can you send me just a random Facebook message and a text message?
There, that would be a great test right there.
I don't know if Dawn's still here. I would have asked her.
Hello, Mythos. Welcome.
I'll even put my watch. And I believe Dawson or Mythos done the same thing.
Yeah, he's done this kind of test, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, there you go. A text message and a Facebook message. Nothing. It didn't go off. There we go again. And there's Dawn sending me a message as well. Didn't
Yeah, I
go
think
off.
she's lurking, I think.
Right. Now,
So,
if it was a K2, that it would have lit up. We would have had demons and stuff. And I have seen debunkers say, oh, well they got a phone on them and that's what's setting off that device. It's like the REM pod. It's like, no, that's mainly with the K2 or an EMF meter.
right. Dawson says he's surprised that the phone vibrating didn't trigger it from the vibration. That he says that'll make it go off.
Oh yeah.
Friday says to have somebody give you a call.
Somebody call. Don will call me. Here, I'll even put that there too.
This where you nothing.
Nothing. All right. Stop calling now.
He'll call you in a little while.
Okay, there.
Jeff said hopefully Dawson sent you a picture of his butt.
That wouldn't be the first time.
Oh boy.
One time Dawson sent me a picture of his dick and I thought it was a Tic Tac.
Oh God. Oh man, that's bad.
Mythos sent me a dick pic once and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. You were at the zoo looking at the elephants?
Mythos says he wants to see the picture. He'll send it to you. But yeah, he's I think that that right there proved that it didn't set yours off. Dawson said it was my ass. I'll send it to you, Jeff. And Mythos. There, so everybody's gonna get the picture. Oh, now I feel left out. Shit.
No, you're good.
Well, actually, we want a picture of Joe's because he won an award. Dawson says, "Why do I have to have a small one, but Mythos gets a massive one?"
Because Mythos can kick my ass and you can't.
There you go. Good enough. Jeff says, I'll be right back, going to go vomit now. Jamie says, hung like a squirrel, huh, Dawson? Like a squirrel. Holy crap. Dawson says, I know where you live. Mythos doesn't. Oh no.
That still doesn't change the fact that Mythos can kick my ass and you can't. Oh shit.
Oh shit, that's good.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of people or some debunkers in the past say that cell phones and things like that can set off a REM pod when that is obviously we know that's not the case. Now, if I had an old ass phone, then likely it would have set it off.
Dawson said, charity boxing match at Joe's house. We got to settle this. So, hi, Spang. Hi, everybody. Spotted Ghost, welcome. Yeah. Oh, Don said no. No, Dawson, sorry. When there be some shit there and Mythos shows up at your house. Sorry, I'm sorry. Blame it on Dawson. So yeah, and I don't see anybody, taking bets. So we'll leave it at that.
Oh shit.
Carla, damn Joe, SmackDown. Yeah. Dawson, I get a free pass. I'll give one to Joe for that comment. Remember, yeah. Dawson always gets the free pass, remember?
Yeah, well, just remember that free pass does expire.
Jeez, free pass.
Oh,
total insanity.
That is gonna always be a joke.
I see Two-Ply said, Dawson, better watch out. Maybe like that kangaroo. Oh yeah, holy shit. I don't know. I wouldn't want to do that. Okay, Friday says, many cell phones use a host of frequencies, many in the 800 and 900 megahertz range. The REM pod may not respond to that frequency. When getting messages, the transmitter is on for only a few milliseconds as well. Man, Friday knows his stuff.
Right. Like I said, I don't know what the hell they're doing with cell phones now. But I know way back in the day, yeah, they would definitely set the REM pod off and other equipment. What was it called? Something. I cannot remember the name of the company. What's the name of that company? He used to make paranormal equipment. And like I said, that's what I'm saying, stuff like this, it isn't new. Maybe there's a spin on the idea or whatever.
Right.
But he had this 360 puck that or not a puck, but he had this something another 360. Basically, and it's hilarious. You guys can find it somewhere on Kenny Biddle's channel. Basically, it was this circular thing that would light up to tell you where ghosts were. Literally, like, look, it's lit up over here on this side, so the ghost is over here on the right side. I actually have a video of this. Basically, it was just a piece of plastic with a bunch of electronics, and there were, of course, lights all around it. and the guy was using glue sticks.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Protruding out of it that would light up. There were times where my like cheap ass Samsung, whatever the fuck it was a cheap one, would mess with that thing and set it off. There were REM pods, not ones like they were REM pods, but from a different builder, and they looked different. I think they were bigger. My phone would set those off. In fact, one of those REM pods, we were at Waverly Hills, and there was a guy from the UK who was with us, and his IR light was made out of the garage door IR thing. So it's trying to send like a signal or whatever. His IR light would set off the REM pod. And it was the craziest thing. And we're like, why is it going off? And and then the guy's like, whatever. And then the REM pod would stop, and he'd come back, and there it was again. Then people were asking questions like, if you're here with us and this guy's, recording in a different direction, can you set that off? And he'd turn around to point it at the REM pod. And as soon as he did, it would go off. We figured out it was his freaking IR light. And he got back to me about it and who built it for him. And they were like, the guy was using like these old garage door IR lights and shit, like the lights or whatever the hell it is. It's something about it. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Right.
But I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, see, you never know. Double K said 10 on Joe to win by knockout. So the bets have started. Carla said putting wrestling, Dawson Joe mythos with Crow at ringside.
It would turn into an orgy real quick.
Dawn said any bets that when Dawn will fall down again. Holy mackerel. No more falling down. Dawson said anal bead, tug of war, and a pool of chocolate pudding. Enough said.
Have fun with that, Dawson.
He's got that all mapped out and everything. Holy shit.
Jesus Christ. So you got a notebook of shit that you're writing down?
Plans for March. Friday. Modern phones do not need a strong transmitter anymore either. Towers are much higher in numbers, so one is much closer to you. Which is true. They're everywhere.
Right. And yet somehow I still can get a bad signal.
I know. It's the truth. When we leave where we are, and we head up towards the mountain, when you get past a certain point, total dead zone. And that's where you would need the signal just in case you break down. And yeah, we have nothing. So they really need to work on that. Let's see. Oh, Dawson, here we go. Just to be clear, I'm not going to be part of the anal bead tug war. Oh, he's going to be observer.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Nah, you can't take that back. That was your recommendation. Now you got to deal with it.
Yeah. Observer. Yeah, I know what that means.
Spectral says, Dawson, I think you protest too much. Yeah. Yeah. He come up with the idea. But that's what, it's great. Like I said, you just showed that, just the phone ringing or the texting didn't set it off. Because there was a big debate for the longest time.
Yeah, it'll set off a K2, but not a REM pod or a lot of other devices.
Now, I've seen, actually, I've seen the Ouija brothers use this. It's that string of lights that they lay down on the floor.
Basically, it's an EMF detector.
Okay.
A friend of mine, he has one. He brought it with us, or he brought it with him when we went to the Monroe house, and it's just detects EMF.
Okay,
I
that's what they're
think
calling it, a
Mike.
tripwire.
Yeah, I think when we were at the Monroe house, although it didn't get used I don't think it got used when we were filming the documentary. I don't know, the day before or something like that, it was used. We had it set up and it kept, like, certain lights would kept going off, but what I had noticed was the lights that were going off were the ones closest to electrical outlets. And if you ever notice, a lot of paranormal investigators, when they go to the Monroe house, they set the majority of their equipment to a certain spot in the room, and that's where you get quite a bit of EMF,
Right.
from this wall and from this outlet. Well, it's actually funny because Matt showed this last night. I actually took an EMF meter and got it close to an electrical outlet, and I mean, it just fucking skyrocketed. Matt's like, "There's a lot of EMF in there." I'm like, "I know."
So, well, that's why I think it's important that everybody checks that before they even start, just to see what you're dealing with in that area.
And maybe I could do a video on it. I'm not sure, but it would only be from places that I've been to. But show people, hey, this, watch how everyone is setting up their equipment and where they're setting up their equipment. It's always in, like, this spot or really close to these spots.
Right.
And here's why.
There you go. Dawson says, I think a lot of people mix up equipment, combining devices because it's mostly a game of telephone. They forget which one it was, and a group of them all together when they are almost different.
Right. And see, the thing too is that I can't, like, it gets hard to keep up with everything that's out there. You have all these different people making all these different devices that do all these different things. And to a certain point, yeah, they all kind of just do the same fucking thing. They're just packaged different. And may have something, I don't know, else that just kind of separates it from others, but essentially they're basically the same thing. But I'm not saying that a music box is the same thing as a REM pod. There's all kinds of different people who make REM pods, and they all basically do the same damn thing. There's really not much of a difference. Some may have more blinking lights than others. Design may be different, things like that, but it's really all the same. And I mean, like I said, I bought this to show people why we don't use these things.
Right.
Because we can't prove a goddamn thing with these things. It doesn't tell us anything.
Right.
I mean, it could go off for any reason. It doesn't tell me ghost. It doesn't give me any kind of data.
Right.
It does nothing.
Yeah, Spectral Researcher says, yeah, do a sweep with a tri-field meter. Even before you start. I think that's important so that you know what you're dealing with.
Thankfully, most of the locations I go to, I don't have to, like, run around and check for EMF, because usually there's only a couple of spots where there's, like, power.
Right.
But when I see people running, like, security cameras and stuff like that, see those lines running, I already know those lines, they're going to emit EMF, and it's going to set things off. So also too, when I watch certain channels go to certain places and I watch where they set their equipment, it's literally, like, almost right underneath where all of those lines are running for, like, security cameras and stuff like that.
So, actually, has anybody ever thought or has done? I don't know because I haven't seen it. Maybe even a good question for Kenny. Have taken apart these gadgets and found any similarity with each of them? So, like you said, they're packaged different. Some are smaller, some are bigger, more lights, more bells and whistles. But on the inside, are they basically the same?
Basically, I know with like this REM pod here, they're using a Junior Theremin kit, which you can buy on Amazon for like $10 or $15.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you got some soldering skills, you can make one yourself. You don't have to have it in a fancy plastic
Right.
or 3D printed chassis, and just put it in whatever you want.
There you go.
I know that I'm not going to say the guy's name, but a certain individual who makes one, and he cracked me up. He said, "Oh yeah, this REM pod here, it is the best. No one can claim it's better, and when it goes off, it is definitely a ghost. And what we did is we shielded this thing, did all these crazy things, and then he pulled the antenna out. Like, that's not shielded." It has an antenna. I mean, and it's attached to the device.
Right.
Like everything that you just tried to sell me just went down the shitter as soon as you lifted the antenna.
You're right. As soon as you picked it up. Dawson says, nothing tells us anything, even cameras and recorders. So why do we go at all? I'm going to keep using them because there's reason to believe they can work. I can touch it and it'll go off. I believe a ghost can too. That's why we love you, Dawson.
I think just going in with cameras and recorders is the best way to go, because I can rely on those more than I can stuff like this or apps. Because if I do capture something, like I capture something, like if I can capture a ghost or a shadow person, like it's there. But then, somebody could always say that it was fake. But, if you can show that it wasn't, fake, you have something to look at and study. You have data, but not enough data. There is a difference between the K2 and the parts are different. But what I'm saying is, like, when it comes to REM pods, I'm only speaking of like just REM pods. There's all kinds of different REM pods out there made by different people.
Right.
At the end of the day, the parts are
it's all the same guts.
It's basically the same guts. Yeah. Some of them may have more bells and whistles than others, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing.
Right. Miss Karen's in the house. She's saying, "Hey, Joe boy."
Hello, Karen.
Ooh, he gave you the radio voice. Let's see here. Dustin says, I get your point that you prefer cameras and recorders, but none of it is data to show it's a ghost. Just something happens, same as a REM pod.
Yeah, but if a ghost just magically pops up in front of my camera, that's data. That's something. It isn't a beeping sound from a device that gives us that zero information. I mean, big difference. Big difference.
That I would have to agree. I mean, if you're looking through the camera and then something pops right up in front of your face, that's different.
I mean, even if you get something moving across the floor, sure, people are like, well, it was fake, string, whatever. But as long as, well, first off, reputation and shit like that is very important. So if you do capture something like that, at least people can say, okay, well, that person has credibility. So let's see what's going on here. I mean, that is, at the end of the day, that is something.
Right.
Can't even
Karen's
call it air pressure, but whatever.
I know Kenny's got an answer for everything. Well, and he would say no, he doesn't. But yeah, when somebody gives him something, he'll find an answer. Karen says REM pods, door stops. Other than that, pretty lights go off.
I had a friend of mine. He's like, we were investigating the Nickerson Steed house, and he's like, well, I have my K2 meter here if you want to use it. I'm like, actually, I do. I took his K2 meter and I jammed it underneath the door. And he's like, what are you doing that for? I'm like, that's all it's fucking good for. And this door keeps closing. And it's not paranormal. It's the way it's leveled. It's off leveled, so it swings shut. And I wanted to.
Do you go to the extent and bring a level with you when you go out and investigate?
I have, but also too, I don't always have time to do that because I have to got to get the tour, and so God only knows how long the tours are going to be. And then got to run around and set up all my cameras, set up all the digital recorders and things like that. And even then, when I go to locations, like paid locations and things like that, it's limited time. I am not doing a proper investigation. Nobody. I don't care what anybody says. You are not doing a proper investigation anywhere between 6 and 8 hours, or sometimes 13 hours. Not happening unless you continuously go back to that location over and over again. They're not doing a proper investigation. So the best that I can do, because again, these places are expensive, I go there, we'll listen to the claims, we'll check out the claims, and then we'll see what happens, which usually nothing happens where we do find an explanation.
Right.
Dawson has been with us when we went to check on some claims at a location. But we were there for a few days anyways. But yeah, I mean, that's about the best that I can do when it comes to something like that. Now, if it's like a residential, we're going to be there a lot, and I have more time, then yeah, sure, I'm going to be checking all of that stuff. Checking to see, how the doors are if they're even or lined up or whatever.
Right. If they're hung correctly. Yeah. All of that. So
I tried to avoid hung.
Say it. They people say worse on the chat. Never mind.
I don't know, but I knew as soon as I'd say that, somebody would say, "Oh, hung, huh?"
Joe, make sure that it's hung right.
There's a lot of things to check. I will use the EMF meter to see if there are any like what I call hot spots. Like if there's a lot of EMF in one, like within a certain area, usually rule that as electrical. Or what I will do is, if the EMF is high in one area, I'll see if it'll spike. So like if the kitchen fridge, when the compressor kicks on,
Right.
guess what happens? It's using more electricity.
Yep.
And that'll spike the EMF. And that was something that I observed at a location that was happening. So there was a lot of EMF that was happening. And coincidentally, a lot of people were putting their device, and I think they were doing it on purpose because that's where they were shown to put like REM pods and stuff like that. Things were going off in that spot, and it was the spot where I was getting that high EMF reading and even a high spike.
Right. Thanks for dropping in, Karen. Don't work too hard.
Later, Karen.
Dawson, I watched a hand appear out of nowhere on Tyler's hand while holding an EMF. That's triggering. He felt the hand on his at the same time. That's why I believe in EMFs. It isn't always a ghost, but it can be. For one, I think that's an incredible experience to actually witness something like that.
See, there are things that are not on my channel, either because it was so long ago or I choose not to, where we've had things happen.
Right. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Tyler popped in.
Oh Lord. Where we've taken EMF, like we've had EMF meters in an area, and we literally watched something move, and not one of those EMF meters picked up on anything. I have not been able to, and neither have most like legit investigators. We've not been able to find any correlation with ghosts or EMF. We cannot find it. Just like investigating Hales Bar Dam for a couple of years, repeatedly, almost every weekend. I cannot find a correlation between a large body of moving water fueling paranormal activity. Hales Bar Dam would be called that like sweet spot, because you have all of the elements that everyone claims fuels paranormal activity. You would think that that place would be hopping all the time with paranormal activity. That is not the case at all.
Right.
Not the case at all. And I think more is that when people say, oh, it's haunted because, there's a body of water moving through. No, if you look at all the wars that have happened in this country, all the battles that have happened in this country, they're near water sources. Like that was like water was extremely important.
Right.
That's like how they freaking navigated too. They had to be near water, well, because you got to drink, you got to eat, and animals need water as well.
Right.
So it was valuable for hunting and things like that. So when I think people are getting confused here that, hey, there were like a ton of deaths that happened not that far away from here. Maybe that has more to do with it than running water.
Well, you hear that, I've heard that for years, that water, any kind of location that was next to water, you were going to have more activity. Same with any location that had like, what is it? Limestone?
Right.
Because limestone was apparently supposed to absorb that energy.
Right.
But as as time goes on, you're finding that no, that really isn't the case.
Right. And then for a long time, there was this thing going around where there was this pub, and at night, people, like, the place was empty, but yet people were hearing music and people talking, and they had these scientists come out and check it out. And then they did these experiments and found out that, EMF, or an electrical charge, is making it happen. So it was a residual kind of haunting. But the issue with that is the story was complete bullshit. It never happened.
Right. And I've heard the same thing, because, a lot of buildings are brick, and brick is something that does absorb things like odors and stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't know, has anybody ever checked to see maybe if the brick is absorbing that energy as well? I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever tested that.
As far as I know, no. And I'm having a hard time buying into a lot of it. I'm sure there's, like, I do believe that there's some truth to that, because, I mean, again, coming back to our cell phones, a lot of the things that our cell phones is made out of comes from the ground, minerals and things like that.
Right.
And they're able to, basically our cell phones or even computers, it's residual. That's all it is residual. And after a while, though, making get corrupted, and then it has to, like, I could run a program, and then all of a sudden the program doesn't want to work anymore because a file ended up being corrupted. But all I have to do is do a fresh install, and then all things are good. But there could be a little bit of something to that, but who knows?
So I'll just like there, was there a theory where a residual could be corrupted because the area and the surrounding area has absorbed different energy?
I mean, that could be a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, it very well could be. I mean, they're not even theories. They're just beliefs or an idea. But there's so much of that out there that it's hard to keep up with it, right? Like, it's hard to keep up with all these different beliefs and ideas and things like that. It's hard to keep up with all of, like, the gear and apps that are being thrown out there. It's hard to keep up with all the locations that are just popping up out of nowhere. And there's a lot of changes that are happening in the wonderful world of technology that is hard to keep up with, that, may have some sort of impact on what we may perceive to be as paranormal.
Right. Dawson says everything we have created comes from the earth. It's just put together a certain way. Nature is amazing. Yes, it is. I'm in awe of it every day. Why can't this stuff emit or store energy? It's definitely hard to keep up with. That's true. Why can't it? I think that's why those theories come about with the water and, and the limestone.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old, but I can't keep up with shit anymore.
Oh, you know what it is? I think we just don't want to.
No, I want to. It's just there's so much that's changing so fast.
Yeah, it is.
Like I said, I had no idea Wi-Fi 7 was a fucking thing until I've seen the manual for my motherboard, and I was just flipping through it. I'm like, when did this happen?
Right.
And I've had this motherboard for quite some time. And
don't feel bad because I didn't know that either.
But also, to be fair to myself, I've been so focused on getting things edited and a lot of other things that are going on too that I can't keep up with things. But a lot's changed. Plus, my memory is as big as my wiener.
Yeah. Well, I got memory issues all the time. Dawson says you're old, Joe. Not going to argue there. It's not old. And then we all must be ancient then if we're older than Joe. I'm ready for the crypt. It's what I'm thinking, because when I do eventually someday, when I can afford to get another computer to run the show on, that's all going to be another learning experience for me, because it's going to be one of those gaming computers. So that's something else I'm going to have to learn.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's basically.
Hi, Spotted Ghost.
I mean, I built my computer. I'm a tech nut. I love technology, but yeah, there's my computer.
All the pretty lights.
Yep. I was jokingly flexing on one of Beardo's streams in chat about my computer. It's not exactly like of the beast that it once was. I was joking around, kind of having a pissing contest. My computer's badass. It's really not that much of a badass now, but
when it come out, it was. See, the minute one comes out, it's already obsolete, because then the new one's on its way.
As soon as you open the box,
yep,
it's already lost more than half of its value.
Well, because everybody says, why don't I just get a new laptop, a gaming laptop? No, because then I can't upgrade it as easily if I had a desktop.
Right.
That's just an easier way to upgrade. So that's what I'm going to go with eventually.
I mean, if you can push things into place and plug things in, you can build a computer.
Right. So that's just better off that way. Let's see. Hey, Jeff Dawson, here's a question I have. I don't set off an EMF meter with my energy. Is a ghost energy amplified to allow them to set it off?
It's a good question.
Good question.
We do actually admit EMF. We actually do. But the way everything is calibrated, EMF meters and stuff like that, the way they're calibrated, they're not going to pick up on that.
This Dawson says, Jeff, we have discussed this. Energy increases. Example, not fact. Ice equals 1, water equals 2, steam equals 3. That's why, and that's scientific fact. As energy changes to a thinner, smaller form, it goes up. He says, I went over that in a live. Solid has at least energy. Plasma has the most. Jeff says that you guys talked about a squid machine. Did he ever get that? Wasn't he going to get a squid? I forgot.
He's been wanting to get a squid or an octopus.
Octopus? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about all that shit. All I know is what I've experienced, and I only speak to my experiences or things that I know, but I wish I knew a hell of a lot more.
All right, well,
but I know better.
Every day is a learning experience. That's how we got to take it, and just pick up. Like with me doing the magazine, I've learned a lot of things that I didn't know. Looking up things for, posting like stuff about equipment and other things that I put in there.
Did you ever look into the thing that I told you about? That might be interesting. The oh shit, what was it called? That experiment.
Oh no, I have that written down. I have in one of my many notes. Was it the Philip?
Yes.
No, I haven't looked that up yet. Still working on, like I say, I have a pile of notes here on all this stuff that I'm supposed to look up. But yeah, I got it written down.
That may be an interesting one.
Hi, Julianne. How are you?
All right. For those who don't know about the Phillips experiment, there were these scientists in Canada. Well, particularly one person, but there were other people involved as well. What this guy did, was he wanted to see if people could create their own ghosts, essentially. So he made up a name. Well, he and his wife made up a name. Philip. A ghost named Philip. I can't remember the last name. Phillips, of course, is made up. Then they made up history. Just completely made up his history, surrounded by factual history. And they got a bunch of people together and told them about this ghost named Philip. Gave Philip's fake backstory, but again, there was factual history to this ghost. And at first, the experiment was not working. So they decided to change the conditions of it. They decided to go ahead and dim the lights and put in more of a situation. Put them in a situation that's more likely to do a seance. That's what they did. And then the experiment worked. Then all of a sudden, they were getting basically replies through knockings and other means when they were asking questions. So this fake ghost was then responding to their questions. And the table that they were using was moving. It even tilted up over on its side. There were some other things that had happened. So then it kind of makes you wonder, is it really all in our heads? If this experiment was absolutely legit, it's been criticized. It has been criticized, but if that's the case, is there that possibility that we are creating ghosts? Is that actually possible? If I sit here and I talk about my place isn't haunted, but if I sit here and claim it's haunted and give the ghost a name over and over again, and I have people over wanting to investigate, will they get results of a fake ghost and their investigation? Are they going to capture this fake ghost in their investigation?
Yeah, something that we should look up. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely. I haven't, like I said, in my notes. I'll have to check into it. Spotted Ghost says, when the planet dies, it loses its magnetic field. Where does it go? The same can happen to people. If they emit EMF, then where does it go? It's probably the only thing left of us after we have gone. And then Dawson replies, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Where does our energy go? Does it spread out? Does it stay put? We really don't know yet.
Basically, it's radiation. We become part of the environment.
So, yeah, pretty much. And apparently, Dawson is sending Jeff obscene photographs. I don't know. I'm kidding.
Jeff, that's not a Tic Tac. That is his wiener.
Just funnin'. Let's see. Dawson said, the more I investigate, I do think a big part of the paranormal is just our brain, not in our heads, but we create it into a real thing. Let's see where Carla says she sees auras and working with the morgue. I do not see the energy around dead bodies. See, oh, that's pretty interesting right there.
There are so many unknowns. And I always come back to this. The paranormal isn't based on any kind of facts. It's based on belief.
Yeah.
And I absolutely, even though I'm out there doing it, I do not believe that we're ever going to be able to prove one way or another. We're not meant to. I believe that we are not meant to.
Right.
It's just like, well, if there is a God, how come he just doesn't pop up out of nowhere and say, here I am? Well, first off, there's a difference between believing and having faith. You can believe in something and not have faith in it. Faith is trust.
Right. Night, Dawson. Glad you could join us.
So even if God pops up out of nowhere and like, hey, here I am, I exist, it doesn't do us any good, because now we just believe, and now there's no faith. But
right.
Well,
most teachings in any faith is that you don't see the face of the Creator until it's your time for passing.
Right.
Until it's time for you to go home, as they say. Until then, you're not supposed to look upon the face of God.
Right.
But again, if you don't have those beliefs, then it's
right. But, whatever. Cool.
Whole different ball game.
Yeah. Somebody's wrong.
And again, we're not going to find out until that time comes.
Right. And for all we know, this could be something like, we always say ghost, whatever. This could be something entirely different that's actually natural that we just don't even know anything about.
Right.
That very well is a possibility. I remember a friend of mine, I was investigating with him, helping him out. He had a thermal camera. He had a security camera, and then a night vision camera, all in one room. And this vase moved on its own, like just on its own. Just this vase. We didn't see anything. And again, there was an EMF meter in the room. It wasn't triggered. Nothing set it off. We have no idea. The thermal camera didn't pick up anything. Nothing.
Right.
So what the hell happened? Why did that vase move? We even looked to see if there was any kind of like earthquake or something going on, blasting, underground blasting. There wasn't anything like that going on in that area. So what happened? I mean, you would think something with mass would get picked up on the camera, any kind of camera. But thermal cameras also, to be fair, they don't pick up on ambient temperature. They pick up on surface temperature. You could literally have a ghost standing in front of you, like right in front of a thermal camera. You'd never know it was there.
You never know it was there.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think that we're meant to find out one way or another. Now, some people would just say, well, a lot of skeptics would say, well, that's because it just doesn't exist. But my argument to that is, I realize that the world is full of liars or people, well, so they're still liars, but wanting to be a part of something and have something special. So they'll say shit that's not true.
Right.
And put it out there. But what about,
it's the thing, you know, they haven't had their own experience like the majority of us that do this.
But for those who like you know, there's a shit ton of fucking liars out there who claim that they've had this paranormal experience. Shit tons. And the majority of people who claim that they've had paranormal experiences likely did not have the experience. They're lying, or they may be getting it confused with something that was absolutely normal, but for whatever reason, it may have scared them or whatever. But what about the small percentage of people who are telling the truth, who did have something happen to them, or they witnessed something? What about them? We just can't like shrug it all off.
Right.
We just can't. And again, it comes back to this whole paranormal thing is it's rare, you know. I mean, Don's talking about the documentary. I can't tell you how many times I've been to the Monroe House and nothing ever, like nothing happens, nothing.
Right.
And then just like out of nowhere, just randomly, what the fuck? Just like what?
Yep.
Like Dawn and I hearing the footsteps. I have no idea what the hell that was. And there's
that's
been
what I always say to people, you know, paranormal doesn't happen, you know, at a snap of a finger. You know, it happens when it happens. We don't control that. So people
Right.
got to see it that way. It's, you know, oh, how come these people went there and they caught something, but you go there and you get nothing? That's just not the way it works. It works when it wants to work, you know. It's
right. Jeff said scientists will never prove God exists.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he doesn't exist. Right, exactly. You know,
Yeah.
Bees aren't supposed to be able to fly. They defy physics. The way that they're built, the size of their wings, they're not even dynamic. Like the aerodynamics of them should not allow them to fly. But they do.
But they do.
And do you want to know why? Because bees don't give a shit about what scientists say.
Yeah.
Because they just don't know. Now, if they could understand us and we say, you can't fly. You're not built to fly. They're not going to fly.
Well,
Maybe. Who knows?
They do what Mother Nature tells them to do. That's it.
Right. But yeah, I just, you know, It's something we're never going to be able to prove. We're not meant to prove it.
Right. It's just the mysteries of life, guys, and we'll just keep searching. Anybody have any more questions or comments that they'd like to share? Because we've been buzzing along, and I know Joe's got to call Dawn.
Yep.
We don't want him to be late for that.
I am so off my freaking game today. Like, it's not even funny. I'm like just off of it today.
Yeah, I have a lot of those days. I just keep pushing through. Some days I just can't get myself going. All right, go outside said he's scared of sharks. Okay, thanks.
Oh, well, I mean, you know.
I'd be scared of them too. Oh, God. Well, Joe, I want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight. It was a great education as always. And you're always welcome. So don't ever think that, if you just want to pop in, you can pop in. No problems with that. Thanks, everybody, for joining us and for your great questions and comments. And it's always good fun when we get Dawson riled up.
I love getting him rolled up.
Oh, but it's I love his energy. I love his attitude towards it, and he's the future. Along with like Noah Faraday, again, another one who has that pure energy to find the truth, and I think it's fantastic. So hopefully we can generate more people like that than what's going on out there now, because that's pretty scary. So with this, everybody, I want to say thanks again. Please like and subscribe to Joe's channel if you haven't already. Please like my channel and subscribe if you haven't already as well. If you feel like donating, the link is at the top of the chat. All donations are appreciated. And also, yes, don't forget to check out the Paranormal Pages, the Inside View, the magazine. The link is in my posts on my page. It was a fun Valentine's issue, and I hope you guys all enjoy it. And I'm accepting new submissions for March already. So send them in, guys. Got to fill those pages. Until then, thanks for joining us on the Raw Side. Everybody have a great night.
Laters.